Why is it important that people believe in God? I think it's important that people believe in God because there has to be someone who has made us, who has made everything, and that person wants to help us and wants to be there for us. And if we believe in God, if we have that relationship with God, that'll help us to live a better life for ourselves.
Wait, I got two questions. Why do we need to have God? Because you said, you almost seem like presume that it's necessary.
It should be necessary. It's not necessarily viewed as necessary, but it is necessary, because although we try to avoid that relationship with God at times, it's like we need our mother's care, we need our Creator's care, which is that love. And if that love is necessary, we can't go through life without loving. And if we have that love with our Creator, that in itself is necessary.
But how do you know that's true?
How do I know that what's true?
That we need that relationship.
Why wouldn't you want a relationship with the person who made you? Why wouldn't you want to love that person and to be around that person?
What if they don't believe in God, though?
Again, that goes back to how you were brought up. If you don't believe in God, the only way you're going to learn is through experience. It's like going back to what we were talking about, why vanilla tastes better than chocolate. You won't know until you experience it. So individually, if you experience God, you'll know that you need that love and care from your Maker.
So you're saying that everybody can experience God?
I think God has made His presence visible to most people. It's just a matter of acceptance and obedience towards God. Obedience in the sense that we follow His will, not ours, and we love Him. We do His will.
Why is that important?
It's important to do God's will because if He's our Maker, He knows us better than we know ourselves. So He's going to... It's important that we trust His will over ours, because He knows what's best. He's our caring Father.
So when you say He knows what's best, is that presuming that we constantly need to seek what's best for ourselves? And if so, why?
I think in seeking what's best for ourselves is a path of destruction, because we don't know what's best for ourselves. I think if we let ourselves be free to God's will, then we will find life. We will find His will.
But why is His will so helpful to us?
Because it is the one, His will is a path that not many people take. It's the path. It is also the path that produces the most results, but yet not many people take it because it is the more difficult one, and that is obeying Him, because it's easier to sin than to do good. So if you obey Him and do good, that's doing His will.
What's the benefits of the results when you do His will?
When, let's say you were to steal from someone, do you have any benefits from stealing from someone?
Yeah,
No.
I can buy something I couldn't buy before. I could feed myself something if I had no food.
But spiritual blessings, spiritually, do you see any benefit? Or do you see it as a path of destruction?
I see that if I were to steal something, that would make my relationship with other people probably more distrustful. Like they wouldn't want to trust me as much.
So what fruit is there in that? Not much. So on the other hand, when you give, when you're charitable, what fruit is there in charity? What benefit is there in charity? Don't you feel spiritually good about giving that loaf of bread to that person in need? That person in need could be you, and how would you feel if you had that loaf of bread, if somebody gave you that loaf of bread, or if you were the one in need for that loaf of bread? See, by giving that loaf of bread to that person, you feel spiritually enriched, you feel blessed, you feel benefits from that. If you do the opposite of that, which is steal or do something dishonest, you feel the opposite. So if you do something bad, you're going to feel cursed. If you do something charitable and good, you're going to feel blessed.
Some people have different views on what's good and what's bad. Some people think doing drugs is okay. Other people think that doing drugs is bad.
I think that I don't think that most people think that drugs is okay. I think people just fall into drugs and they think it's okay that if you've used them that you could recover from that, and you could live a worthwhile life even if you use drugs. That doesn't make you a worse person, but I don't think most people think it's okay to go ahead and use drugs. I think that's that in itself, and saying it's okay to use drugs, is an evil thing, and it's a path of destruction.
But why? And why do you think people use drugs?
I think a lot of people use drugs because they feel that the drugs will gain them some sort of popularity with their peers, will make them they're looking for some sort of response from people, some sort of love, that approval from people again. And by doing the drugs, they feel that they're accomplishing that approval. And that's not the way to go. I think that when people use drugs, it leads them towards a path of destruction.